From across the comic book community multiverse, the Comic-Con podcast begins now with your hosts, Justin, aka Nemesis Prime.
If you give them the title of influencer, then that's giving them more power, right? That's how it is. Like, I'm a nobody. Listen, I'm a nobody.
Zach, aka the Manimal.
We talked about it for a full, I believe, 7 to 8 minutes on an hour-long normal podcast for a show. And you would have thought we set their house on fire with the backlash. So, welcome back, everybody, to the Comic-Con Podcast, Season 3, Episode 21. The original crew, Manimal, Nemesis Prime, doing how we do, talking comics, talking shows, talking everything. What's up, Justin?
Yeah, so I got something planned for this episode. Let's go ahead and play it.
Oh, yeah, okay. Well, actually, by the time they're listening to this, maybe it could be the final countdown. So today
Not the final episode, but the final countdown.
It is May 24th. But you will be listening to this on May 26th, which eventually will be forever my son's birthday. But yeah, if you're listening to this, I'm either at the hospital pulling a baby out or something. So but yeah, my last final days as not a father, which is gonna be, it's weird, man. I'm sure all the fathers out there can relate, I guess, but you know, you think about your life, right? And there's like seminal moments in your life, but like, I feel like this might be like the biggest, right? Where everything changes possibly. I mean, I guess you and I are in the same boat. Neither one of us knows, right? So
yeah, 100%.
Like,
it's crazy. Well, I mean, like early congratulations, I guess.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
We're obviously going to talk, and you're going to
send you a picture or something. Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway, we don't even know if this guy's going to even like comic books. So screw him for now. Let's talk about comic books. You know how we do here at the Comic-Con podcast. The community is the most important thing we always want to talk about. And we had a big community event from our really, really close friends over at 3 Minute in the Basement. Justin's going to walk us through the 7th annual swap, 8th annual.
Well, they've been doing it yearly. Typically, it used to go like twice a year.
Yeah.
Now it's kind of started right before COVID. So maybe like 5th or 6th. It's the third year that it was up at the Angry Hare. Obviously, you know, here at the Comic-Con podcast, we were one of the sponsors. We got our names on the shirts. They, you know, promoted us, dropped off some flyers, which is cool. But then again, it's not really all about the sponsorship and the promoting. It's all about just hanging out with the community. So yeah, it was all day Saturday, 10 to 4, 10 to 5. You know, you had everybody from the Northeast, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, you know, 360 Comics, Very Gary Comics. The New York Warriors were there. Obviously, the 3 Men crew put that on. You got some artists. You had Doug Bratton here in New Jersey, who does the Isolation book.
Nice.
Who else was there? Richie's Comic Cabana, he's a store up in Connecticut. J&S Collectibles, Streetside Anthony, just to name a few. You know, everybody.
Some friends, right? Like Dennis 4 Comics was there.
Yeah, Dennis
right?
4 Comics was there. You know, his wife was set up. She was selling sweets. So check out CK Sweets on Instagram. My wife is in love with the cookies, bro. Like, it was wild. Like they're amazing, and we definitely need to order more. Like, without a doubt, I need to order bulk.
Does she make them, or she just represent them? Is that her company?
No, it's her company. Yeah, she's like a kind of stay-at-home mom, and she does that. So there was that. Simply Cypress, which is like a soap thing, which one of our buddies, also his wife does that too. So you know, it's a change up. So not everybody was like a comic book seller. It was definitely other things. But regardless, it was packed. You know, from the time that they open the doors at 10 o'clock, and you get those early bird people that want to get in, get the best deals. And then there was like a lull, and I think the lull was because of the fact that it was raining. Like the weather was crummy, but that's like good and bad, because you know what? In the middle of May, when it's nice and hot out, most people on a Saturday are not going to want to come to a comic show. They're going to want to do something with the family. But then after like by 2 o'clock, like 2 o'clock, it was just like jam packed in that place. And it was awesome. You know, like just people walking around. You know, you had, again, like I said, tons of people in the community that came out, represented themselves. You know, appreciate the people that listen to the podcast, people that came up to me that, you know, that have been listening to the podcast for a long time. Hopefully got some new listeners. We appreciate all other new listeners. And then just buying comics, man, like digging in those boxes was so much fun. You see so much different stuff. They do raffles. They had a food truck outside. They the ice cream truck comes. So there was so much to do. And that's the way the community is, man. Like, I know, and I talk about this, like the Northeast is like small when you think about it, like New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, Rhode Island, all these states are small compared to your state, right? And some other states. So everybody kind of getting together. It's kind of like a routine thing. And then you have, I know, like Tulsa, Tulsa Comic Swap. They're doing that sometime soon. And I know like the Three Men are a part of it. And I know Bird City Comics is also a part of it, sponsorship and stuff like that. So that's what it's cool. Like, it's not just like a normal comic show, right? Like, because here in Jersey, we have our normal 3 shows a month that everybody can kind of go to. But when you have like that, where you have actually community members, people who normally don't set up, like they don't have these elaborate walls. They literally just had the table and they're like short boxes or long boxes. And people like didn't care. Like Roger's brother was set up. It was like, hey, everything's is $1. Like, okay.
And I think it's interesting, like, because it's obviously comic book themed, right? But then you mentioned all the people who are there selling, like cookies and stuff like that. But it's more of it's comic book themed, but it's like it's a hangout, it's a community, it's a get together, and like, there's also comic books here. Is really kind of what it is, right? It's almost like a cookout with comic books.
Yeah, similar to like what Tim does with the
collector's
statue guys.
barbecue.
Yeah, it's the same thing. Like literally, I mean, even if a lot of people, obviously myself, because I went up there on Friday, I did some hunting on Friday, and chilled out with Otto and Roger and our buddy Sean, Comic CT, like all night Friday night. Like I was there all day Saturday, and then I ended up leaving like after the show was done and people were packed up. I still hung out for like another hour, but like people were there all day because you don't want to leave. Like it's like, why go to a show like that for like an hour or two just to look for comics and not like have conversations, like legit conversations with people? So it was a great event. They always put it on. Please, I'm sure the 3 men, they took videos. Anybody else who, follows any of the people that were there, check out the videos, check out their hauls. A lot of people doing interviews. I didn't really need to do any interviews. Like I took some photos, some reels, whatever. So, but the next big thing, of course, is going to be Terrificon. So
one day I'll make it. Remember it was right before COVID when I had bought tickets to come out.
Yeah, that's right.
For it. That was like going to be the trip that I came out, and then, was it COVID? But it was something messed it up and I didn't come.
Yeah, it was COVID. Yeah, it was all set.
Later,
and then
right?
like the week before they couldn't have it. So
that was a bummer, but who knows? Things on the horizon might be changing, and maybe I might be an East Coaster sometime soon. We'll see. So I'll be more active over in the fun stuff. So, yeah, man. So shout out to 3 Men in the Basement, our good friends and the community out there putting on a good community event, and like just good stuff, man. So, which do we go to next? You know what? So that was good news. Let's go ahead and roll into some sad news, and then we can move on to some happier news, I guess. But a lot of people probably have heard, was it yesterday, I believe, on Tuesday, the 23rd, that Ray Stevenson passed away. The information on this is still kind of up in the air. No one really knows what the cause of the death is. But if you don't know, you probably have seen him. Maybe you don't know who the name Ray Stevenson is, but if you saw him, you know exactly who he is. Obviously, in the comic book world, he was Punisher in the Punisher War Journal, which was arguably one of the worst Punisher movies of all time, but he was great in it. He was Volstagg, right? And one of the Warriors 3 in the Thor movies.
Yeah, I forgot about that. Like,
well, it's because they fattened him up. He was like CGI'd and he was all fat and that, I knew him from, did you ever watch Rome? That was the first time I ever really kind of like saw Ray Stevenson.
100%. Yeah, because that was like early 2000s. So yeah, that was definitely.
That was like the beginning of HBO having like Sunday night shows, right? Like their ongoing series. And man, great show, Rome. But yeah, Ray Stevenson been in multiple things, and obviously, Justin, what does he have coming out here soon?
I mean, he's in the Ahsoka show. He was even in Star Wars Rebels. He played Gar Saxon in Rebels voice acting. So
okay,
yeah, and obviously, a lot of people know him also from the fame of Kill the Irishman. But yeah, he's going to be in, obviously, his last official role, I guess, would be as Balin Skull, as one of the Sith kind of characters. I guess Gray. Sith Jedi, whatever you want to call them. I don't really know what they're going to be, but yeah, man, him and a chick that were going to be the kind of like the villains, if not Thrawn, obviously the main one. But so that's really going to be the last thing that we're going to see him in, and it's crazy because I even saw this thing on Instagram where someone said, everybody hated the Punisher movie, and now that he's dead, they're saying, oh, that was like the best Punisher on screen, like it's better than the like John Bernthal. I'm like, I mean, I don't know. Like I saw Warzone once.
It was really bad.
Yeah, I saw it once, and that's probably the most I've ever, sat through it.
I honestly saw it in the theater, and I remember being like, "Holy crap, this is not good." But who knows? I mean, I'm looking, looking at like his filmography and everything now, and it's, I mean, a massive. We talked about a lot, and you as well, big King Arthur fans, and you had the King Arthur movie from 2004. He was Dagonet in that. Um, I forgot, man. I recently just did a watch through of this. So he was in Dexter, season 7 of Dexter, and he played Blackbeard in Black Sails, which was a great show based off like Treasure Island. I love that show also. But yeah,
he was in, what was that movie? The not the first. I think he was in the second G.I. Joe film.
Oh no, I know who you're thinking about. You're thinking about the. I know who you're thinking. Oh no, you're right. He played Firefly. Played
that's
Firefly.
right.
You are right. Yeah, man. Damn.
And then of course the comedy of, well, not really comedy, but he's in The Other Guys, right?
Who's in The Other Guys?
The Other Guys with
yeah. I was trying to think. Oh yeah, he's one of the villains, like the henchman. That's right. Yeah. I love The Other Guys. That's a great movie. That's
that's what I also remember him from. So
yeah, dude. So no one really knows right now what the story is here, but obviously sad news of his passing, and it's too bad. It was been around for a long, and honestly, really not that old. 59. 58.
He was 4 days before his 59th birthday. Right. He was out in Italy filming a movie, starting a brand new movie. I don't know, unfortunately, the name of the movie, but yeah, he was rushed to the hospital. And again, that's all that's kind of been put out there. So sad news, especially for fans who possibly, obviously, we kind of say it like, oh well, I guess he's not coming back for season 2 of Ahsoka. I would assume that the character dies in season 1, but even if he doesn't, it's kind of hard to bring it back.
Well, thoughts out to his family, and thank you, Ray Stevenson, for entertaining us over the years. So, but okay, sad news over. Moving on to, what should we do? Should we do the Marvel news, or do you want to roll into the Image? Let's do Image stuff because that's kind of a big topic.
Hell yeah, man! This is huge news.
Yeah, kick it off.
Well, we have, of course, if you don't know, there's the good old Lunar thing, and DC has been dealing with Lunar for quite a while, their new their distribution. And I'm really excited. They just did an exclusive deal that Image Comics is going to be joining Lunar for the direct marketing. So straight over from imagecomics.com. This was just announced today on the 24th. Image Comics is going to be the exclusive distribution deal with Lunar, effective in September. So everything that's going to be going on sale in September will go directly through Lunar, which is pretty interesting because, of course, a lot of people have always bitched and complained about Diamond Comics and how shitty they're, they handle their books and everything. But for the most part, from what I've seen, Lunar's done a great job with how they handle the DC stuff. And really, this is like, it's very tough right now because, and I don't think people realize what this means. So with the Lunar deal with DC, they started putting out their DC books on Tuesday, right?
Yeah, they come out like a whole week early.
Yeah. Well, no. Like
I get what you're saying. Yeah,
you get it early.
They get it like my shop. If they came out like this week on Tuesday, my shop usually gets it the Friday before Tuesday.
Yes. So here's the two things. It's like, one, if now DC comes out on Tuesday, Image books come out on Tuesday. Now you have to wait till Wednesday to get your Marvel books. So it's kind of like it's like a catch-22. Like, it's perfect because, all right, so I go to my shop. If I go on a Tuesday, I can pick up Image. Some stores, I guess you could pick up your Marvel stuff, but obviously they don't want to sell it. But like, now it kind of hurts because it's like, now you have to go 2 days. Like, let's say you don't pre-order books, right? Like, you have to deal with going on a Tuesday, getting like these two companies, and then going on Wednesday to make sure you get the Marvel stuff. But
well, to be honest with you, wasn't and I could be wrong here, so educate me and the listeners if it's the case. The whole not selling the books till Wednesday, I always thought that was a Diamond's rule.
Yeah,
so now,
that's a Diamond rule. Yeah.
So now you can kind of just be like, honestly, like, screw it. Like, we'll sell our stuff on Tuesday because they'll have their Tuesday books most likely.
Well, that's what it is. Yeah. Like with the Lunar deal, there's not like it's street, kind of like a street date. Like Diamond always said you cannot sell before 12 a.m. On Wednesday. But obviously with Lunar, they allow their books to come out on a Tuesday. So that's obviously what is going on with DC. So that's why, for most part, like, comic shops do open on a Tuesday for DC customers. So, I think this is it's a good and bad thing. It's good, of course. the Jeppy family for over at Diamond, they've been there for so long.
Right.
Image, obviously, since the beginning, right? Since like 1992.
Mm-hmm.
And, I think they, obviously you can't have just one distributor. So,
Dude, it's capitalism, man. Like, that's
oh, yeah.
like shout out to obviously to Diamond. Whether you have complaints about Diamond, they held it down for a very long time. The comic book community wouldn't even exist without Diamond, right? So, but this is capitalism. This is the free market. Another person comes out, does a different job. Everyone is in their best interest to find better prices, better shipping, and that's what happens, man. This is what makes capitalism great, in my opinion. My biggest issue with Diamond over the years was always the monopoly that they had, right? Like they were the only ones, and there was no other option. And I think competition breeds excellence. So, but man, I mean, now who are we talking about? Who's still at Diamond? Boom Studios, really? It's like the only, and like all like a lot more independent companies are still there. But
yeah,
Boom's the big one. Boom's probably the only big one still there, I think.
And Marvel.
No, Marvel's with Penguin.
Oh yeah, that's right. So
it's Dynamite.
Well, it's like both because you can do either or.
So let's see. Diamond still has exclusive deals with Boom, Dynamite, Ablaze, Titan, Aftershock, and Frank Miller Presents. So, damn, man. Yeah. So Diamond's deal with Marvel and Penguin Random House. So yeah.
And that's what it is. It's really just about bringing better quality to us, to us, the readers. At the end of the day, like I know, like with Lunar, I know that when you get those ratio variants, like they come bagged and boarded. Unlike Diamond, like they do not. Like if you get like a 1 in 25, 1 in 50, 1 in whatever, like from Lunar, they actually come in a bag and a board. But if you would have ordered them directly from Diamond, and I know you're not used to seeing this, and maybe a lot of other people aren't used to seeing this, they literally would just stick them in those Diamond boxes with the rest of the comics. So it'd be like, here's your 25 Batman, and then right on top of that probably is like the 1 in 25. Just no bag, no board.
I had seen like my shop owner had showed me like when the Lunar deal was going down and when it all kind of started, and he would show me the shipping, and the shipping from Lunar was insane. Like it would be like a box, right? They read the larger outside box, bubble wrap, and then an inner box with more bubble wrap. I was like, oh wow, dude. But then then you'd see the Diamond ones, and it'd just be like the classic Diamond box and a stack of comics all bowed because of the weight of the staples, right? Like they didn't even alternate like the staples at all. It just, I don't know, man. It is what it is. But I think it's good, man. I think, I know when this happened, and I'm glad people were wrong. When like the Penguin deal and the initial Lunar deal and everyone was going around Diamond, everyone predicted this is going to be the collapse of the market again. Like this isn't going to be good. This isn't going to be good. And I was like, I don't think that's going to be the case at all. I think this is going to be better for the hobby and better for collectors moving forward. And it looks like it is, dude. I mean, obviously you got your big two, and then I think you can't even argue Image is the next biggest, right? So Image then leaving, that's a big blow, man. Honestly, I'm not really entirely sure how Diamond's gonna kind of stay afloat, but
yeah, we're gonna have to see. But I'm excited for September, so all the titles will go through them, and then maybe you'll get other publishers that are gonna jump ship like IDW. So
yeah, so. A lot of news in the comic book community, big stuff moving. So moving into the Marvel stuff before we kind of get into some non-comic book related stuff. Marvel, we got a Marvel comic book article here for you guys. So kind of a big deal here. Maybe not such a big deal as it would have been previously, but article over by CBR. We got Marvel has officially said goodbye to one of their oldest and most iconic characters. So Marvel officially says goodbye to classic character in Fury #1, while simultaneously leaving the door open for a future return, of course, right? But no, I mean, it should be no surprise. Everyone knows in Marvel since the MCU really started and the Ultimate Universe that Marvel has been moving away from the classic Nick Fury, right? The eye-patched, white, Civil War or World War II era Nick Fury. And we even were introduced to a more modern MCU-esque character with the son of Nick Fury kind of taking over, and his name also is Nick Fury. But we're seeing they had I don't know if it's a one-shot, and to be honest, I didn't pick this up. So it may just be a one-shot, but it's Fury #1. And in this issue, we see the original Nick Fury kind of leave. And I don't want to spoil anything because people might go pick this up, but check it out. It's kind of a good send off, and of course, like we said in the beginning, there's always a chance this guy's going to come back. I'm sure in some big event he'll come back like he did already in what was Original Sin, I believe, was kind of a big Nick Fury storyline.
Yeah.
But it
Yeah,
does
when
look
it was
like
like he was in space.
yeah, and he was like we're going to the Watcher and stuff like that,
Yep.
or he shot the Watcher's eye. He killed the Watcher, I
Mhm.
think. Yeah, something like that. It's been so long, but yeah, so we're going to see the new Nick Fury kind of take over that realm. But yeah, man, what are your thoughts on that about Nick Fury?
You know, I guess it's good and bad, right? For people that knew Nick Fury before the MCU and enjoyed like the Steranko stuff, like
Mhm.
it's classic Nick Fury, right? But then you have people that are young, way younger than us, that only know that, you know, the Samuel L. Jackson Nick Fury, right? And
Yeah,
it's like odd when you would see like the white version of Nick Fury and like maybe like cartoons or comics, and you're just like, wait a second, I've read Original Sin, but there's this other Nick Fury,
right,
and
right.
there's like the Spider-Man cartoons that it had like, you know, Nick Fury in it, like different versions. So it's, yeah, I get it. I think it's a good thing. Yeah. Just stick to one, because I feel like that's with a lot of other characters, right? Like we've
Yeah.
always said that some characters have played multiple roles, whether it's Marvel or DC. So yeah, just get rid of the old, stick
Mhm.
with the current MCU. And then if anything, if they need to ever bring him back, they can.
Well, and it's hard too. Like we've talked about this with some other characters. You have to think it's tricky because there are certain characters in the Marvel and in comics in general, but we're just talking Marvel right now. Certain characters that are dated, and I mean dated in terms of their history is dated on real time events like World War II. That's
Mhm.
obviously a really popular one. You got Cap and Nick Fury. You got Magneto. You have certain characters that are tied to that. That as time goes on makes no sense as to why they're still alive, right? So
Yeah.
obviously Cap and the super soldier, he's good to go. And even Magneto now with resurrection protocols in the mutant world, you're good to go as well. But regular Joe Blow Nick Fury who served in World War II, I mean, this doesn't really make any sense, right?
Mhm.
So you kind of have to put him out to pasture, so to speak. And of course, he's gotten some upgrades through the years. And look, I'm not a super savvy Nick Fury story. Maybe the largest Nick Fury fan of all times listening to our podcast right now and just gritting his teeth on me not being knowledgeable in the history of Fury. But yeah, so it can be tricky when you have these characters. And I think you're going to see in comics, I think Marvel knows this and DC knows this, like moving
Mhm.
away from tying people's backstories to like actual true events, right? So
Yeah, we always talk about this. We always bring this up, but the Magneto thing, you're right. It's just gonna
yeah.
be, it's gonna be insane. Like I
Oh,
have nobody has any
how
idea
can they do
besides
it?
Feige.
Yeah. How can they do that in the MCU? It didn't make any sense, dude, anymore. And
Mhm.
then it almost is like, no, we're kind of going on a tangent here, but oh well, now it kind of seems like, what are you going to do? Tie him to like the Korean War or Vietnam or something like that? I
Yeah.
guess you could, but it doesn't have the same. It doesn't have the same level of like obviously the Holocaust, right? Like most people really look at Magneto and like, yeah, that dude's a bad dude, but the things that happened to his people were horrendous, and you can kind of understand. There's like that. We
Mhm.
get you, man. We get why you're doing what you're doing. We don't agree with you, but like I don't know what other event in history kind of has the same like gravitas as
No.
like the Holocaust. So, but anyway, totally Magneto topic, but like Nick Fury, so Nick Fury's taken off. We got Nick Jr. still around, and but still, it's a big deal, man. That's a big deal for Marvel to kind of move on from. And I think I might go pick up this book, or I'm definitely going to read it online
Yeah, I
because
think it's a one shot. Yeah, I
it
think it's
looks like
definitely a one shot.
it looks like it really does like justice to him, like a good send off, and it like highlights like his, how important his character has been over the years. So, yeah, let's check it out. Fury #1 on sale this week from Marvel Comics. So, moving on. What else do we got here?
We got some Flash, the Flash final trailer before it comes out in literally 3 weeks.
Crazy.
This is finally coming. A
I don't
movie
even.
that we never thought we'd see.
I don't know if there's been a lot of spoilers too. I think we kind of got to be careful because I don't like things being spoiled, but there's been a lot of like cameo spoilers. Have you heard about these?
Yeah, I heard one rumor.
I read one, and then I heard another one today when I was getting my haircut. I'll tell you offline about it if you want me to.
Yeah, I think we should kind of keep.
Yeah, I don't want to say these
Yeah,
things.
we shouldn't say certain
Yeah.
things. Obviously, there's one in our group chat that we kind of read, and I don't know if it's the same one or. We'll kind of talk about this trailer. So again, final trailer for The Flash. I mean, I don't know how much more there's really to talk about this. Like, it has everything. It has everything for every generation, right? If you started and you were watching in the 80s, you got the Michael Keaton Batman. If you started under the Snyderverse, you get the whole Man of Steel look. And
Affleck.
Yeah, you get the Ben Affleck stuff. I just think it's gonna be amazing. Like, I even how the trailer kicks off and like Bruce is like, Barry, I need you here now. Like, it's classic Batman. Like, I mean, I know like the chase scene that's what they're calling it with Ben Affleck. It's not going to be very long, right? It's
right. He's not going to be in it very much. You've only seen like 2 clips of him, really, so you can't have much screen time, probably. But
but I still think they're keeping a lot under wraps. Like,
I hope so, right?
I mean, I still think it's part Flashpoint, and obviously they really haven't revealed like the villain, and I guess like toys have been spoiling it. So as long as you stay out of the toy market, you don't know really what's going on. Or Funko Pops.
We talked about this in another one of our group chats. A lot of people are claiming this is like, even Stephen King came out. He screened The Flash. He was given a premiere screening. He was saying, wow, this is an amazing movie. And a lot of people are saying best, comic book movie of all time. And we were talking about this in our group chat today, making jokes, but also being honest and like about stuff. And to me, like, I mean, obviously, if you guys have been listening to us for a while, we did the Miller Watch for a really long time, and it honestly kind of has to be, in my opinion, it better be either the best or just up there, because that's the only justification for really moving forward for this movie. But I don't know, man. There's big shoes to fill. I mean, let's talk about best comic book movie. I mean, I said it in the chat earlier today. I still think Dark Knight is the best, in my opinion, of all time comic book movies.
And why? Like, what's your?
I just think, well, one, I mean, I love the Nolan verse. Are we calling it that? I love Christian Bale as Batman, but that movie I thought the plot was great. Heath Ledger's the Joker. I loved the Two-Face. I loved everything about that movie. I've always loved the realism of Nolan's Batman, where it really could be our world. Like, there's no outlandish villains necessarily that were like super powered or anything. It was just gritty and real. And that movie there's so many scenes in that movie that still to this day, I feel like give me chills. There's
like a lot of memorable quotes. Like, I get it.
That too, but even like I can go back and watch it and I'm like, God damn, this is a good ass movie. I think and it's also, if I'm on a desert island and you get to bring like 2 or 3 movies or whatever, it's definitely one of my movies I'm bringing for sure.
All right. I like that.
So, you?
Good idea. I still think Watchmen. Like, I still think whether you watch the original or you watch the director's cut, and again, it's a Snyder movie. So like, some people hate on it. I just think the whole idea behind it was just like so revolutionary, because it hits all the times, like when it was created. Obviously, the writing is the same. Like, it's very almost spot on from like person to person or character to character. A lot of the images, they come right off the panel. All the characters, you kind of feel for them. Like, every time I've watched it, I've always you always see something new, because obviously there's so many characters that you're watching for the first time. And if you have no idea, even if you've never read the series, it's still a good movie to watch, because it all kind of fits into each of these characters that you like, whether it's, Miss Jupiter or the comedian or, Dr. Manhattan. Like, they all have their own parts to play. And every time you watch it, you always find something new. And I just think, historically, because it does happen like within our history, right? There's a lot of things that you see that are, the Cuban Missile Crisis and, who the president is at the time, like Nixon is the top. That and Nixon and everything. It's like, it's real. It's not like DC or even Marvel, because they've never really had like a realistically like a real president, So I think Watchmen's always same thing. Like, Watchmen would be, my favorite as far as a live action superhero movie, whether it's Marvel, DC, or indie, without a doubt.
I love Watchmen too, and I agree with you. It's definitely underrated. I feel like it does not get the respect it deserves as a movie. And I remember going into it the first time, never really being super savvy on Watchmen, hadn't read Watchmen when it came out at the time. And I love that movie too. That is a really great movie. So but dude, The Flash, I don't know. We'll see. I don't know. I don't know, man. I guess to me, it's still all the Ezra Miller stuff. Like, even I don't care how good it is. I do not know how you keep this guy. I just don't know how you keep this guy.
I guess it's all based on money, right?
Right, like the world is, right? So
well, yeah, that too, but it's all how well this movie does. Like, obviously, the past, Black Adam didn't make a lot of money, so that's kind of a flop to The Rock. That's why people are saying that he's going to be coming back in the next part of the Fast and the Furious. Movie.
He's in. Well,
I know.
Post credits of this one, so
post credits. Anyway, and then. Yeah, people are like, all right, so it's like this, and we talked about this. It's Blue Beetle, and then Aquaman, and then it's all the reboot stuff, right? So this is the only thing that could keep Barry, because he's always that one character who can live in another universe, right?
Right.
He can come back from this and be the Flash in a different parallel world, and he's the only one who knows it. So, yeah, I think it's gonna be definitely weird, but I just hope it makes money, and just go out and see it. Like, I think even if you're not huge into comics or still into comics, if you listen to this podcast, you're obviously going to go see it without a doubt.
Yeah, right.
But like, even if, like, obviously my brother's someone, like, he wants to see it just for Michael Keaton. Like, even, that's what it is. Like, you want to see it to see the original like, not the original Batman, but the original movie type Batman.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. I'm excited. What'd you say? 2 weeks away?
I mean, if you look at this, every week for the next 3 weeks, we have a movie. We have Spider-Man's next week, Transformers, and then The Flash. 3 weeks in a row, probably 2 weeks of movie bonus content.
Yeah, hell yeah. Yeah, that one, that'll give me some time where I can actually probably go see that one in theater, which I mean, The Flash is definitely one I feel like you gotta go see in theaters. It's gonna 100%. Be like with the special effects, right? Like it's gonna be insane. So yeah, man. I'm excited about it. I am pumped. I'm excited to see how it goes and everything. So yeah, moving on to kind of jumping back to some Marvel. You want to talk about the other trailer we saw just recently?
Yeah. So PlayStation just showed off their showcase because they don't do E3s anymore because they say it's too problematic with COVID and nobody wants to travel, which I don't know, man.
It probably saves them a ton of money, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, in this age, it's all about the digital stuff anyway. It's all about YouTube, right? Everybody just watches it on YouTube. I mean, the biggest reasons why you kind of went to E3 was for, us gamers that would actually get to play the games and you could kind of get feedback. But that's obviously why they just hire testers and send out copies to people. Right. So this today just happened on the 24th. There's obviously a lot of games coming out for the PlayStation 5. And, Zach and I are going to talk about this offline. But, you had to show this trailer. There had to be something for this, and that was Spider-Man 2. We got a teaser last year showing off Miles, Peter, showing off Venom as, possibly the big baddie, but starts off, and I didn't really know where this trailer was. I didn't even know what the trailer was until all of a sudden I heard the name Sergey and they show Kraven.
Yeah, right.
I was like, ooh, okay. So he's in it. We got the Lizard in it, but it shows like that Peter's already got the black suit and the powers are amazing. The gameplay looks great. You get to switch back and forth what it looks like with Peter and Miles.
You said you finished the Miles game. And because I think I played halfway through it. I didn't finish it. Does the symbiote show up in that at all?
No, because the reason why the story is like Peter goes on to Europe or something.
Yeah, he's right. He's in Europe. Yeah, I remember that.
Like that's basically what it is. Like, so he doesn't have it at this point. But I'm sure. Okay. I feel like the game has to start off where you don't have it and then you do get it. So,
and I'm assuming because that was really only gameplay we saw, but everything's kind of being billed like you get to jump back and forth. It's going to be like a Peter and a Miles type game. So somehow you're going to be playing both characters. Probably as the storyline goes, you'll jump to a different character for different parts. Have you read that for sure at all?
No, I mean, it kind of just looks like that's kind of what's happening.
Right. So that would be kind of cool. I mean, that's a good idea for a game, in terms of, I don't know. The thing about these games that have always kind of bugged me about the Spider-Man game, it's kind of the same thing we talked about, like the Jedi Survivor stuff, right? Like actually in Spider-Man's a little different though, because you do have the different suits. There's just like way too many of them, but they do provide, one of the things I like about Spider-Man, the games is that the different suits and the looks actually change your gameplay a little bit. Like some of his suits have different powers and whatnot, but there's still like 30. I mean, it's way too many, dude.
Yeah, you definitely don't touch half of them without a doubt. Like you
Right.
just to look cool. But that was always the thing too. You could always just like have the suit on, but it doesn't have that specific power, which was
Right.
always fun. But yeah, so like that kind of goes into like us, like comic books. Like now does that now like so here it is. The trailer dropped this week. Do you think we're gonna see like Miles on like a top 10 list next week because they dropped a trailer for this? Or like Amazing Spider-Man 300? Like do people buy into it? Like with the video games?
Well, so I think I don't know. It's hard to say because I think Miles books skyrocketed with both the Into the Spider-Verse show and the game. Even when Spider-Man 2 came out and we knew you were actually going to get to play as Miles, his book did pop when that came out. I feel like it's kind of reached its limit until a live action comes. I feel like you won't see that Ultimate Fallout pop again significantly until if there is some kind of like live action. And then that's when it's going to go to probably its last plateau, I would assume. But yeah, you think AF-15 is going to pop real hard on this one?
Well, I mean, I'm not saying like those Silver Age books.
The 300,
like, all right, nobody's going out there buying like the first Lizard or Craven. Obviously, they're waiting for the movie. But like, people are always quick to think like that's what it is. And it's probably half the time I feel like it's not even like people that want to buy the book for the book. It could be just like speculators that think that, oh, I just bought the book, maybe it'll go up again. Like, like they're buying to like invest and flip closer to the releases, my guess. Like there's those people.
I just can't imagine. These books are not really invest and flip books necessarily, right? Like, I mean, that's a large investment for even an ASM 300, I don't know. I don't see it spiking. I think you might see a couple sales maybe, and maybe we'll see some movement on like cover price and whatnot, but I don't know, man. I don't see it, but it's a good question though. I didn't even think about that, to be honest.
I feel like when they announced at E3 last year or whatever it was called, like when they did the stuff, or maybe it was even the year before that, when they announced the Knights of the Old Republic remake. I felt like the Knights books kind of moved a little bit, like for the Revan stuff, a little bit, not like super, but people were like, "Oh, he's coming back. They're doing the thing." Like, Revan's only got 2 appearances, basically. So.
Yeah, it's always tricky with video games too. I mean, that is also like kind of a niche thing as well. I mean, we're both comics and gamers, but that doesn't mean the majority of people out there are. So, and I'm going to be honest with you, I wouldn't spec off a video game. I that's just not me. I know you kind of do, and this is different, but you are big into the comic book versions of video games. Like you're big on those. But I wouldn't spec off like a Marvel, like a big 2 character because he has a video game out. Like that's probably not something I'm going to spec on really. It doesn't move the needle enough for me, I guess. But I don't know. I could be wrong. I'm not saying there's not money to be made there, so don't crucify me, community, for that comment.
No, I wouldn't.
But so yeah, looks good, dude. I'll probably now. It honestly is kind of given me an interest to maybe finish that the Spider-Man 2, right? It's just called Spider-Man 2. Finish Spider-Man 2.
Yeah, it's the story. Spider-Man Miles Morales, and then the new one's just called Spider-Man 2 as of right now.
Oh yeah. Okay, I gotcha. Yeah. Cool. Well, we're going to keep this show a little light today, a little short possibly, but we're going to kind of it for the article since we did this about a day early here, but we're going to roll into what we are currently reading. Do you want to go first, or should I knock out what I'm currently reading and do your story?
So for what are we currently reading? So it's actually it's weird. So for myself, and if you looked online or you live here in the Northeast, so a little bit of an issue this week, and this is the articles over at bleedingcool.com. So Marvel and IDW comics were actually delayed this week due to a diamond truck that got into an accident the other day. So basically a diamond truck.
Those books are damaged.
Those books are damaged and flying all over the highway. So there was an accident over the weekend that basically has delayed both this week's and next week's books a little bit for IDW and Marvel. So I have no books this week. So everything's kind of getting pushed back because obviously a lot of stuff is going to be stuff that was due out this week is now going to be on sale like the 14th. And then stuff that's on sale the 7th is going to be in like July now. It's like wild. And there's actually a lot of decent stuff. Like, you had the Star Wars. So here it is. Like you get a lot of good books. Yeah. Now here's the thing. Does that make any of these books that are coming out this week pop? Because you have people that are like you.
Yeah.
Like, let's just say you want to get the Star Wars, the Darth Vader, black, white, and red #2, but I can't get it right now, right? So the only way I can get it is either eBay, whatnot, Instagram sales. Like, does that make any of these books kind of like pricier?
I don't know. I guess I'll let you know. It's kind of maybe good for me as well, because I just listed my Star Wars High Republic 1 through 10, and apparently I might be one of the only ones out there who has one. So the final issue.
I would have just bought like one of each issue that came out this week and just listed them for double on eBay.
It's a dirty move.
But it's crazy, yeah. So I have no books this week to talk about that because I can't read anything. There's no DC for me that I needed this week. A lot of the Marvel stuff. So
this
I got
might be
nothing,
too soon to say, but this would never happen to Lunar. Just saying.
Wow, yeah.
Just joking.
It happened the same week that Lunar and Image get together.
Right? They're like, this is the final straw. So no, I guess one of my currently reading. Well, you know what? Let's keep on the topic. To be honest, and I know you haven't read this book, so I don't want to spoil it. But you and I both have some opinions on this. Man, I was happy that the final issue of Star Wars High Republic came out. Like this phase, whatever I don't even want to call it phase 2, because it's like back even before phase 1, I guess. There just was nothing exciting about the storyline, and I don't know, man. Maybe it ends decent, I guess. I mean, it's a decent storyline, and maybe they're setting things up for these characters. Maybe obviously we don't know where this is going. I feel like the characters they introduced in this run we may see later and may have like a bigger role, and that's why we got a little like flashback, so to speak, about their characters. But I don't know, man. Was very underwhelmed with this 1 through 10, right?
Yeah, I definitely am not a big fan of this phase 2, and it's kind of scaring me for phase 3, because it's like, are they going to stick in the same phase? Are they going to go back to what the phase 1 characters were? Are you going to go farther back? Are you going to continue just introducing characters that don't make any sense? Like,
yeah,
I mean, you had a perfect thing. You had a non-Sith character to be like the villain, right? With the Nihil and Martian Row. And like, I cared about those characters. Like, I cared about Avar and Peeve and Skier, and then even like the stuff in the IDW. I cared about these characters, and now you're giving me all new characters, and I'm just like, I'm not attached to any of these characters.
Yeah, and I feel like the other big problem with this is, and unless I've missed this, they haven't came out and explained why they did it this way. Like, what was the reasoning to not move forward with like the High Republic phase 2 of the characters we've already been introduced in? And even the way it ended with like Martian Row kind of like being the last Nihil standing in a way, and like he was going on to do his own thing with the levelers and all that. Like, yeah, I want to know what's up with that. Like, what are we doing here? I don't understand why you went back to do a 1 through 10 and then a 1 through 8 in Adventures, or is it I think it's 8 issues in Adventures. And then you had the little mini series that just ended, the Quest of the Jedi, and then you had the other
Nameless Terror.
Nameless Terror, yeah.
Yeah, you have like a bunch of stuff on the Dark Horse stuff. So,
but it never really actually even said necessarily like where this fit. We know it was before the original High Republic stuff, but like there's no actual tie-in to anything. I don't know, man. It's almost as like they're buying themselves time, I guess. I don't know.
I guess, yeah. So what else do you got other than
so
stuff that we don't know about yet?
Right. Man, I'm trying to think my pick of the week, probably. They had a really good book, the Daredevil and Echo title that just came out.
Yes.
Yeah, and so obviously one of the interesting things was written by one of the writers is Taboo from Black Eyed Peas. But I was really looking forward to this book because obviously we have the shows coming out. Daredevil and Echo are, the blind guy and the deaf girl, right? Like really cool characters to kind of pit together. It was good. I enjoyed it. I like where it's going. Could have been stronger, but definitely the book I kind of enjoyed the most this week for sure. I'm excited to kind of keep reading it and moving forward with it. But yeah, really could check it out, Daredevil and Echo. And I don't know if it's like a 5-issue series or what the game plan is with that. I didn't get to, because I haven't picked it up yet, but Supermassive came out, and I'm really, really looking forward to reading that. The other book that kind of ended this week that I really enjoyed the run was The Harrower. Did you read it from Boom Studios at all?
No, it doesn't even ring a bell. The Harrower?
I think we talked about it before. It's written by Justin Jordan. It's a 4-issue kind of horror story, very kind of like slasher themed. That came out, kind of wrapped up that story, which is really cool. And then honestly, dude, the book that I'm liking more and more, and I thought it was ending with 3 issues, and I'm happy to say it's not, was The Forged by Greg Rucka. The only thing is kind of, as I said before, is kind of annoying that it's magazine format, but really fun, really, really cool. And it looks like there's going to be an issue number 4 in September. So we're going to have a bit of a gap before the next issue comes out. But so you'll have some time to catch up if you're not reading it. The Forged 1 through 3, really, really cool stuff. And then I did want to talk about one other book, man. I don't know if you were reading this. I started it when it came out. Were you reading Ordinary Gods by Kyle Higgins at all?
I think I read the first issue and then I kind of stopped it.
Yeah, dude. Man, it was really good. I really enjoyed the story and like the idea behind it. And then they had some publishing issues, which just kind of like dragged it out. And like I think there was a huge gap, like almost like 4 or 5 months in between issues like 9 and 10 or 10 and 11. But it just ended with issue 12. But I am looking forward to going back now that the whole story's there and reading them. I'm going to read them consecutively 1 through 12 and kind of crush it, because I love Kyle Higgins and I like the ideas behind it. But, you know, that stuff kind of messed it up.
Yeah, I feel like that's always a problem with publishers. Right. It's like if it's a way, like we always know, like Image typically is always off for 2 months because they do the trade, right? It'll be like a 4 or 5 issues, and then like off for 2 months, but you'll get like a trade paperback for that story arc, and then it'll come back. Like when it's like a normal title that you're like reading, that's like you said, or even our biggest one, which of course Last Ronin. Like I feel like you just fall off the series and you kind of forget, because if you're pre-ordering books on a monthly basis and you don't see it anymore, you're just like,
right.
Oh, I guess I must have had the last issue. Like it's not something that I, thought about.
Well, and along those lines too, here in like on June 7th, because I'm cruising through like the solicitations, we have the same thing. Dark Knights of Steel 11 is coming out. Like, dude, how long? That was like monthly for a very long time. And both you and I loved that. And I mean, I still enjoy it, but it kind of aren't you too? You kind of turned off by it in a way. Like
it started in 2021. I think it came out in either December of 2021 or January of 2022, and it was solicited for 12 issues. And yeah, you're right. It can't even get to 12 issues in that time. So
yeah, we're looking at issue 11 coming out in June. God only knows when the final issue will come out. But like at this point, it kind of lost its luster in a way, and especially when those like Elseworld titles. I'm kind of like, for me as a reader, I'm very much like, okay, burn through it, because I know this doesn't have any like long-term canon, and it's supposed to be like an alternate Elseworld. I want to burn through that story. Dragging it off makes me lose interest. Like all the other stuff they did with, what were some of those other ones?
Like the War of the Gods, Deceased.
Yeah, Deceased and stuff like that. They were cool at the time, but then you drag it out. I'm not interested when you come back later with it. So
I feel like at this point, it's like I'm just gonna buy the last 2 issues and then I'll read it all at once again.
Yeah, you're gonna have to, right?
Yeah, because I can't even remember like where things happen, because there's those random one shots, and then they like reprinted like 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah.
It was like weird.
That was weird. So anyway, that's what we got this week, guys. Justin, anything coming up for you? Shipping out some books here soon, right?
Yeah. So for the people that are listening, if you saw the unboxing I did on my Instagram, the trade Virgins Topless and Nudes are in the building. I am shipping them out for people that ordered just them from Whatnot, and some other people hit me up, and I can tell you what's still available if you're still interested in getting the Comic-Con podcast / Mad Love exclusive with Dr. Afra. And then of course just follow me on Instagram with Whatnot. I'm always on the Whatnot app, so that's about it.
Yeah, guys. So check out the book. There are still some copies out there. Justin and I have some as well. So if you are interested, reach out, let us know. Once again,
check out Mad Love if you wanted to trade. I know the trade dress and the Virgins are 100% sold out from our stock, but definitely check out madlovecomics.com if you're looking to grab those. But yeah, please hit us up and let you know what other versions are still available. Foils, maybe metals, just hit me up.
Sounds good.
They are sexy. They are going off to CGC.
They are hot stuff. Yeah, so next week we'll have a new member of the Comic-Con podcast. He won't be able to talk, but Baby Manimal will be joining us.
Oh God, I can't wait for next week's show.
So anyway, thanks everyone for tuning in. Have a great weekend, and we will catch you next time.
Peace.